much. If you can keep it going for as long as you can. Usual props, a band, a strap, a belt, and then the ball if you've got one, or you can always use a pillow, a cushion, to create that little padding, the little resistance. So if you're seated, try to find your neutral alignment while you're seated. As usual, think of the rib cage. If the rib cage drops down into the belly, so if I'm punching forward, then my diaphragm, the big breathing muscle inside the rib cage, can't move freely. So I can't breathe with my diaphragm. I have to breathe with the top of my chest, which is not a relaxed breath. So see if you can, as much as you can, lift through the top of the body. Try to create space to allow the diaphragm to move up and down to create that nice relaxed breath. If you're lying down, using the mat to help realign the spine, allowing the body to relax onto the mat, feeling the belly raising when you inhale and then falling when you exhale. And then running the usual scan over the body. So noticing the pressure at the back of the body if I'm lying down, on my seat bones, on my legs. If I'm seated, am I straight? Am I slightly leaning? Am I slightly twisted to one side? I'm not changing anything, just noticing where everything is and how I feel to begin with. Is there tension? Is there any discomfort anywhere? And then once you're happy that the body feels a little bit more settled, the breath feels a little bit more relaxed, and then focusing on the neck. I'm going to start rotating side to side. So I'm going to turn the head to look around to the right, bringing it back to the center, and then I'm going to turn it to look around the left. Back to the center, and then to the right again. I'm going to keep that rotation going with the corner of your eye, especially if you're seated. Check that the shoulder is not drawing backwards. So the movement is not coming from my thoracic, is not coming from my upper back, it's coming from my neck, from my cervical spine. So how far can I turn to the right? How far can I rotate to the left? Is one side easier than the other? If I feel that one side is more restricted, where do I feel the restriction is? Can I try and relax a little bit more through the shoulder? Can I try and relax a little bit more through the neck and encourage a better, smoother movement in that direction? 4, 3, 2, 1, and returning back, returning the head back to the middle. And then from rotation, we're going to go into a little lateral flexion. So imagine to be dropping your ear down to the shoulder. So I'm going to flex it down one side, come back to the middle, and then I'm going to flex the other way. As the ear moves down to the shoulder, I should be able to feel a nice gentle stretch that from the base of the earlobe on the other side comes down the side of the neck, all the way up to almost like the top of the shoulder. If I feel that the stretch is okay, the neck doesn't feel too stiff, it doesn't feel too bad, then I might want to add a little bit more traction. So as my right ear moves to my right shoulder, with my left arm, I'm going to reach down the side. So see if I can try almost like pulling in opposite direction. So my arm is pulling down and my head is trying to reach away on the opposite side. Then I'm going to ease my way back to the center, and then I'm going to try the same thing to the other side. Just a little bit more stretch, going from one over to the other side. Making sure that I'm looking straight ahead. So I'm not looking to the side. I'm not looking down. 3, 2, 1. And releasing back. Giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, relaxing through the neck. And then I'm going to go into flexion extension, so getting into a little skull rock. If you're seated, imagine how you're seated with your back and your head against the wall. So what I'm going to keep is the back of my head on the wall and then retracting the chin. So imagine to be giving yourself a double chin. So I'm going to push the chin into the back of the throat. I'm going to try and lengthen the back of the neck, and then I'm going to bring it forward again. I'm going to lift up, I'm going to look up as high as I can, opening up to the front of the throat, and then I'm going to tuck it in, push it into the back, and then lifting up. If you're laying down, exactly the same thing, a little bit easier as you've got the mat, the floor to guide you. So as I press the chin down towards the throat, imagine the back of your neck to flatten against the floor. And then as I lift the chin away, think of the back of the neck lifting away from the floor. So I'm going to try and press it down into the floor. And then I'm going to pull it away. 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, giving the head a gentle roll. Back of the neck is a little bit looser, it's a little bit warmer. I'm going to take the movement down into the thoracic spine. I'm going to start with some flexion. So grabbing hold of your ball, your cushion, you can even use the hands. It's not crucial to have the ball. I'm going to place the ball right into the middle of the breast and right into the middle of the chest. And then from there, I'm just going to try and wrap myself around the ball. So I'm going to curl myself into a ball. And then I'm going to let myself relax back. So if you're lying down, the head will start coming away from the ground. I'm going to tuck the chin in and then think of taking the shape of the ball. So I'm going to try and flex through the spine as much as I can. If I'm seated, imagine to be pushing the ball into the breast and into the back of the rib cage. So I'm going to try and open up through the middle of the back, stretch between the shoulder blades, down along the back of the rib cage. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, relaxing the shoulders, releasing the upper back. It's a little bit more movement through the thoracic spine. I'm going to go into rotations. So reaching the arms in front of you, clasp the hands together, and then I'm just going to start to swing the arms around. So I'm going to start rotating from one side over to the other. From one side over to the other. As the hands are clasped together, with the hand, the furthest away hand, so as I turn to the right will be my right hand, as I turn to the left will be my left hand. See if you can pull on the other arm. So trying to create a little bit more stretch around the back of the shoulder and then across the middle of the back. If you're seated, making sure that you're still centered, so you're not leaning off to the side. If you're lying down, just think of rolling from shoulder to shoulder across the middle of the back. The hips are not moving, so I'm not taking the hips with me. Just the torso, just the upper body rotating. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, relaxing the shoulders, adjusting the rib cage, and then from rotation, we're going to go into extension. So if you're down on the back, imagine to be lifting the back of the rib cage away from the mat. So I'm going to stand with the chest up and towards the ceiling. I'm going to extend, and then I'm just going to release back. Extend and release back. If you're seated, think of the movement coming from the top of the spine. So think of the shoulders drawing back and down, the top of the chest lifting up. And then I'm just going to release my way back. So I'm going to extend, 3, and back. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and releasing back. Relaxing the shoulders, releasing the back. So a little bit more movement into the thoracic. See if we can take it down into the lumbar. I'm going to stay with the flexion extension, going into the little pelvic tilt. So this time, focusing on the lower back, I'm going to tilt the pelvis back. I'm going to tuck the tailbone under. I'm going to round the lower back. And then I'm going to lift the back into neutral. So tilting and releasing the tilt. So think of rocking back onto your tailbone and then lifting up onto your seat bones. Rocking back onto the tailbone and then up onto the seat bones. So see if I can loosen up the lower back, relax at the lower back and the back of the hips. If you're down on the mat, use the floor to guide you. As I tilt the pelvis back, I'm trying to flatten my lower back against the mat. And then returning back into neutral, think of a little gap between the lower back and the mat. So I'm going to tilt and then release that tilt. Tilt and release the tilt. Just this nice easy massage along the back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back, adjusting the hips, and then from flexion extension, I'm going to go into a little lateral flexion, so into a little hip hinge. So I'm going to hitch the right hip up towards the right side of the rib cage, pulling up on the right, and then I'm going to hitch up on the left. So if you're lying down, the back of the pelvis is going to stay flat against the floor, and then it's just going to gently, almost like a little pendulum, swinging slightly from side to side. So hitching up on one, hitching up on the other side. So a little tension into the right, a little tension into that left side of the belly to create that hitch. If you're seated, imagine to be walking your seat bones up and down of the chest. I'm going to try and pull up on the right, ease down, and then pull up on the left. Keeping the hands down to offer a little bit of a support, a little bit more stability if I need it to. And then see if I can be aware of that little tension into the side of the belly that is helping me to hitch the hip up and pull the hip up on that side. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, relaxing the hips, adjusting the hips, straightening up the pelvis. If I feel I'm a bit wonky, so the spine is a little bit warmer. See if we can now start focusing more on the shoulder joint and the hip joint. So starting with the arms, I'm going to start coming up with a little single arm raise. So raising one arm up to the front, I'm going to lift it and reach it as far up, as far back as I can. Then returning the arm back down, and then with the other arm, I'm going to do the same. Easing back, and then switching over. So nice and easy. It could be a very little lift, it could be a very big lift. Just to notice the shoulder and the neck, making sure that I'm not stiffening through the neck to bring the arm higher. See if I can keep the shoulder down, the neck loose as the arm is moving. If you're laying down, just allowing the weight of the shoulder to really drop down into the floor, trying to keep the movement as relaxed as possible. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then easing the arms down, allowing the shoulders a little rest. So if there was difference between the right and the left shoulder, by now I should know that my left side doesn't like to move as much as my right, or vice versa. So always focusing on the stiffer side, on the restricted side. I'm going to lift both arms together. So I'm going to try and bring them up together, and then I'm going to take them down. As you keep that lift going, see if you can encourage a slight extension. So as the arms go up, think of the chest pushing forward. See if I can encourage a little extension through the upper back. So I'm going to try and raise through the arms, lift from the chest, and then I'm just going to ease back down. If I'm on the mat, exactly the same. I'm going to allow the ribs to flare, the ribs to come up, and then I'm just going to ease my way back down. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and releasing back, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the arms, and then I'm going to focus on the legs. So allowing the shoulders a little bit of a rest. Same as I did with the arms, I'm going to go for the little knee lift. So think of the right leg. I'm just going to try and pull up on the right. then ease my way back, and then I'm going to pull up on the left, and then ease my way back. As usual, whether the foot lifts off the ground or it doesn't matter. So if you can think of the front of the hip doing the work, I can even use my hand to kind of like guide the leg into the lift, controlling it up and controlling it down. So picturing the front of the hip closing, your thigh moving closer to the belly, the hip joint flexing to create that lift, to create that pull. And just noticing the tension, making sure that you're not letting tension come up to your head, come up to your shoulder. See if I can keep the shoulders, see if I can keep the neck relaxed. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. On the next one, I want you to hold the lift. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and release. Picking up the other leg, hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and release. Switch side again. Lift, hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and release. Swapping to the other side. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and release. One more time on each side. Lifting 1, hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and down. Other side. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and releasing back. Relaxing the hips, so releasing the legs. And then I'm going to move back onto the shoulders. This time I'm going to go for a lateral raise. Same as we did for the front raise, I'm going to start with a single arm first. So I'm going to swing the arm around the side, bring it towards the head, and then I'm going to come back the same way. Then swing the other arm, and then taking it back. So from 1, over to the other side. So nice easy swing. Whether you're seated or lying down, find the angle of the shoulder that works best for you. So I might find that keeping the arm too far to the side, it really upsets the shoulder. So I'm just going to allow the arm to swing slightly forward to the sideline. So see if I can find a smoother movement, to something that maybe allows my neck, my shoulders to relax a little bit more. Play with the position of the hand, turning the hand forward, turning the hand out. As the hand turns at the forearm, and then the top of the arm start turning into the shoulder socket. So I might be able to find a better combination between the head of the humerus, the top of the arm, and the shoulder joint. So if the shoulder clicks, I might actually be able to get rid of that click, create a smoother movement. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing down, relaxing the shoulders, and then same as we did for the front raise, I'm going to go double. So same as before, if I know that one shoulder is more restricted than the other, I will follow the restricted side. So I'm just going to swing both arms up at the same time, round at the same time, and then back the same way. So it's a nice swing round and a nice control swing back. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and releasing back, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the arms, and then moving back into the hips. So this time, instead of hip flexion, so instead of a knee lift, I'm going to go into a knee drop. So I'm going to go into abduction. So shuffling the feet and the knees nice and close together. And then this time, instead of lifting the leg up, I think of opening the leg out. So I'm going to push out my right leg. And then I'm going to bring it back in. I'm going to push out with my left leg. And then come back in again. Same as I did with a knee lift. I might use my hand to guide the leg on its way out. Maybe help the leg on its way back. So this time, think of the head of the top of the femur, the hip socket, just gently gliding in and out. I'm not creating any pinching into the side of the hip, so I'm opening just as far as is comfortable for the hip, and then closing my way back up again, especially if you're lying down. Making sure that if the leg opens up, it's the leg that is opening, not my hips that are turning in that direction. So see if I can maintain a nice stable pelvis, and then just move the leg into the hip socket, letting it move out, squeezing it back in again, letting it move out, and then squeezing it back in again. So think of the focus on the inside of the leg. So I want to try and squeeze it back. And then the side of the hip is going to pull it out. The inner thigh is going to squeeze it back in again. 5. Each time, see if you can squeeze the legs nice and close together before you start opening up the other way. 4. 3. 2. Last one. And releasing back, relaxing the hips and releasing the legs, grabbing hold of the cushion or the ball, and then place it between the knees. And then this time I'm going to focus on squeezing only. So pressing into the ball as hard as you can, as if you're trying to pop it. I'm going to squeeze tight. I'm going to hold the tension. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to release. Then again, I'm going to squeeze as hard as I can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Release one more time. Squeeze as hard as you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And releasing back. Relaxing the hip or releasing the inner thigh. And then switching the effort From squeezing, I'm going to try and open. So grabbing hold of your belt or your band. If it's a belt, so if there is no give to it, make the loop slightly loose, so you've got space to actually move the leg inside the loop. If it's elastic, it doesn't matter as the band will stretch. I'm going to wrap the band around the thighs, and then I can either hold it with my hands, or if I want to keep my arms relaxed, I might just tie a little bow or a little knot to keep it in place, and then just relax the arms. And then this time I'm going to focus on opening. So pushing out into the band, pushing out into the strap. I'm going to hold that tension. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ease back. Strand again. Push out into the band. Hold that tension. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ease back. Push out. Hold that tension. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And releasing back. Relaxing the hips or releasing the leg. I'm going to undo my knot. Push the band, push the strap to the side. It's a little bit more movement into the hip joint. I'm going to go back into the shoulder one more time. And then this time I'm going to start mixing the directions together. So instead of working along one plane, I'm going to try and vary. So I'm going to go into circles. I'm going to start with a single arm. So I'm going to start reaching the right arm up to the front. I'm going to swing it around, circle around. And then as the arm comes back to the starting position, I'm going to reverse that movement. So I'm going to swing it around the side, bring it back. As it goes back to the starting position, I'm going to reverse again. Lifting it up to the front, circling around, and then reversing, circling around, and then back to the front. So one circle going one way, one circle going the other way. If you're seated, as you've got space available, as I can actually turn, there is nothing behind me, I can make the movement even bigger. So I can start getting the back to rotate a little bit more, so that I can open up my movement into the shoulder, into the back. If you're lying down, obviously because the back is on the floor, I'm a little bit more limited for space, but I can still encourage a little rotation. So just a gentle rocking from side to side as the arm swings across the front of the body to come back and then circle the other way. 2. Last one. And releasing back, relaxing the arm, adjusting the shoulders, the same thing with the left side with the other side. So I'm going to raise the arm up to the front, circle around the side. As I go back to the starting position, I'm going to reverse my circle, come back the other way, and then reversing again, and then reversing again. So same as on the other side. If you can find a nice movement that works for this shoulder, works for this side. And same as before, if I can, I'm going to start adding a little rotation, gentle rocking over the shoulders if I'm laying down. Or a nice good rotation through the spine if I'm seated. 6. 7. 8. 9. and releasing back, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the arms, and then both arms together. So I'm going to bring them both up to the front. I'm going to circle them round, and then as I come back, I'm going to reverse. Circle them round, bring them back to the front, and then I'm going to reverse again. So one big circle going around one way, one big circle coming around the other way. And then this arm, instead of rotation, see if I can encourage a gentle flexion, extension, thoracic extension. So as the arms go up, whether they're going outwards or forward, see if you can think of the ribs, the breastbone, the chest that lifting. So I'm going to encourage that lift, that opening through, release, and then I'm going to try and open up again. If you're lying down, exactly the same. I'm just going to exaggerate, allow the ribs to flat and lift, and then I'm going to drop them. I'm going to let them flare, and then let them drop. So it's a little extension, back into neutral, extension, back into neutral again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last time. And releasing back, adjusting the shoulders, relaxing through the shoulders, through the back. And then I'm going to focus on the legs. Getting the circle going into one side. If you feel that the leg is a bit temperamental, so I don't have a full control of the leg, then I might just use my band around the back of the leg to give me a little support, a little bit of a guidance. I'm going to raise the leg up if I'm lying down, and then imagine with the tip of your knee to be drawing circles on the ceiling above your hips. So I'm going to circle around. Picture the top of the leg moving into the hip socket. So see if I can create a smooth movement. Same as you did when you were doing your knee drop to the side, making sure that the hips are not rocking side to side. The hips are holding still. It's just the leg that is turning into that circle. If I'm seated, imagine with the tip of the knees that you'll be drawing circles on the wall directly in front of you. So see if I can circle around and then around. And then when you're ready, reversing the circle, going the other way. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release, relaxing the leg, relaxing the hip, same thing to the other side. So same as before, if I need a little bit of a guidance, I'm going to use the band or use the hands. If I'm seated, the leg is close enough to actually grab hold of the leg directly. And then I'm just going to start getting into my little circles. So same as I did on the other side. So if you can think of warming up a little bit more into the hip joint. So can I find a smooth movement, allowing the leg to turn into the hip socket. There's no grinding, there is no stiffening, there is no tensing. I'm trying to keep it as loose, as relaxed as I can. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Reversing the circle, going the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And releasing back, relaxing the hip, relaxing the leg, and then see if we can finish off with a little bit of a coordination above and below. So imagine strings that go from your hands onto your legs, so like a puppet. I'm going to start to puppeting the legs using the arms. So I'm going to pull up with my right arm, and then I want my right leg to come up. I'm going to ease back. I'm going to pull up with my left arm. I want my left leg to come up. Ease down, pulling up with the right, and then down, pulling up with the left, and then down again. 5. Doesn't matter if the leg doesn't quite lift. I'm trying. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Easing down. Now see if you can cross the string over. So with my right hand, the string that I'm holding with the right hand attaches to my left leg, and then from my left hand it goes to my right leg. So opposite sides, I'm going to pull them up together and then bring them down. And then just notice the differences. Sometimes if we do same side, it feels easier. As we cross over, it feels much harder, or vice versa. If I cross over, somehow I seem to be lifting with a lot more ease. If I do the same side, it feels a lot harder, a lot heavier. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And releasing back. Relaxing the shoulders, releasing the hips. If you're lying down on the back, rolling over onto the side, and in your own time, pushing yourself up into sitting. Finding that comfortable seated position that allows you to sit up onto your seat bones. So leaning against the wall, a sofa, to give a little support to the back if you feel that you need that support, keeping the arms up down by the side to create that support if you need one. And then see if we can start opening up that front of the body. So I'm going to start lifting up from the front of the chest. I'm going to push it forward. I'm going to try and come up a little bit higher. I'm going to drop the shoulders down at the back. I'm going to lift the head. I'm going to look forward. I'm going to look up. I'm going to look back. And then I'm going to release. I'm going to let the chin drop down to the chest, so the shoulders come forward. I'm going to roll my way down as far as I feel comfortable. And then up in reverse. I'm curling all the way back up. Extending through, lifting, opening up through the front of the body as much as I can. Looking forward, looking up, looking back. And then releasing, coming forward. Dropping the chin, rounding the shoulders. Relaxing through the back. Last time. Extending up. As much space as you can create at the front of the body. Nice lift, looking up, looking back. And then releasing back to the front. One hand to the belly, one hand to the back. Take your bow. Give yourself a clap. Any questions?